What is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD1 to the video, and obviously here we are not in the car, we are not in my room. Obviously I am at school right now. Kind of a weird thing, but I started a little bit late on this album, so I wanted to at least get one full playthrough before I record in the car or whatever, and I had not gotten to that as of yesterday while I was going to work. So I decided I'll just push off this part one until I'm at school, whatever, or just add a later point in time in the week where I have listened to the album in its full entirety, and I have as of right now. And the album that we're going to be reviewing this week is Revival by Eminem. Now, I have it pulled up here as well, and this album is, again, was put out in 2017. There hasn't been anything big that's happened yet this year. Of course, we will get to some things like Gucci Mane later on, but to start off here of the year, let's do year number 2 review with Revival here. Now, how do I feel about this album right now? This is a very, let's just start with how long it is, right? It's an hour and 14 minutes, very, very long, very packed. It has 18 songs as well, a very, very nice track list that will not leave you, just yearning for more. You will have plenty in this album. Also, another thing to mention also is that, this album has a ton of features from Beyonce, Ed Sheeran, Alicia Keys, Skylar Grey, Kalani. There are a ton of heavy hitting, people that are on this album, and definitely, it is definitely feature packed. I'd say definitely a lot of good features here. There's a lot of new ones that I haven't heard of, like X Ambassadors is a good one, Fresher is a good one as well. I believe how you say his name, I'm not sure, but there are, the majority of them are very, very good features that are proving themselves in the industry and stuff like that. So definitely do appreciate the amount of features on this thing, and overall it's kind of bang for your buck. Like, there's a lot to listen here on this album, and there are some songs that have caught my eye and have really just been really, really good, and that's been for me Untouchable. I think that song is incredible, that I will go into I think later in the week. Again, probably touch base on that one, but Untouchable is just, oh my god, that's such a good song. There's also songs like Home, which I don't know what it is with Alicia Keys with this song. She sounds a little bit weird in this song. She sounds, it's definitely unnatural. I don't know if it's like a weird angle she's going with now. I don't know what it is, but she sounds definitely very, very different here, I would say. And overall, just like a quick little kind of, I guess, thesis of this album, I feel is just that, the first half of this album starts out very, very strong. Very great. There's a lot of good things here. There's a lot of good instrumentals here, a lot of good lines here as well, a lot of the premises in this album and everything. Very, very good start to the album. But once you go down towards the second half of the album, things begin to drop, and they drop very fast, people. They drop super, super fast. And I don't know if it's that I've never been the biggest Eminem fan. Of course, I enjoy his songs back in the day with Curtain Calls, the Marshall Mathers LP. There is a ton of, good stuff that Eminem has had in the past, and really has solidified, his importance in the industry and his importance to the genre as a whole and everything. So, that's not to take away from him at all, what I'm saying, but, it's just this album is not doing it for me in the way that I thought it would. And, not that, I was expecting some crazy, great album, but, it's Eminem. I was hoping, for something, just groundbreaking. And this album is groundbreaking in just different ways other than how it sounds. I feel like with Eminem, there are a lot of songs that are very, very fun, very, witty and stuff like that, and it's kind of really his shtick. But with this one, it's more of just the message that's going on, and the premise is very good, obviously. There's some interesting instrumentals, but overall, I think the instrumentals aren't really that great in this album. But I do, love the premise of a lot of these songs, especially Untouchable, for example. Like Home even has a great, message, even though Alicia Keys sounds kind of weird, but overall, that song, again, has a great message and everything. And still is Offended as well. I think I like Offended a lot going into the second half of the album. I think Offended is a great song and everything. But overall, I still have a lot to listen to. I still have a lot of replays to go through with this album. I think I'm going to end up enjoying its premise and its topics I talked about, and maybe some lines here and there, and the overall lyrics are great in this project. But I don't think I will fully enjoy this album as a whole going into the later days of the week. So I'll catch up with you guys on part 2, probably in the car. We'll see.
What is going on, guys? It is your boy back here with part 2 of our Revival review with Eminem. And let me turn on the AC real quick, turn it down a little bit. So here it is, right? So you guys already saw my part 1 review. I'm not particularly fond of this album in its entirety, expressed that a lot here in our, part one of this review and everything. And just to add to some comments here, just to reiterate, the fantastic track that is Untouchable is still probably my favorite so far. I love that track. That track has lyrics that will, Jesus, oh my God, dude, so good. There's a line where he goes, pull them up by your bootstrap, but where's our boots? So good. Mwah. So good. Track's great, right? And then, I was listening to it yesterday, right? And there was track 2, which I forgot the name of right now off the top of my head. I'm gonna probably remember it in a little bit, but I forgot what it's called. Track 2, right? Oh, it's Believe. Yes. The track Believe, right? That, is a very different sounding Eminem song just because it has like a very modern instrumental that is really weird to hear Eminem try and pull off. And I don't know, he kind of does it, but I don't feel like he fully, does it. He does it, but it's just not doing it, I don't know. But that one was kind of weird as well. And also, I forgot to mention as well that the track Remind Me, it's basically like a rendition of I Love Rock and Roll, that old classic rock song and everything. And that one, it's a fun track and everything, but it's this album is definitely just not up my alley, and just in a way of a sound, just in terms of how it sounds, it is definitely not up my alley by any stretch of the imagination. The lyrics are great as well, obviously, and that kind of steep cliff that I talked about in the first part of this review still does exist for me personally. I feel like there's a very, very steep dip and everything. And on the outro, I haven't heard it enough to really, I feel dictated if it's a good or worthy outro. So I'm going to hold my, thoughts on that until maybe the last part of the review and everything. But, overall, I feel like maybe, if you're like a diehard Eminem fan, I think you're going to like this album a lot, you know what I'm saying? But, just Eminem songs that, I just love are like Stan or like Mockingbird or Mockingjay. I forgot what it's called. I think it's Mockingbird. But those tracks are just, oh my God, dude. Stan is probably my favorite Eminem track of all time. I love that song to death. And I think, there's just I'm missing a little bit of the, I won't even say that, because his aggressiveness and how he portrays some lines are still here. They are still definitely apparent, in this album and everything. It's not like we're getting less of it or whatever. I feel like just when we overlook the aggressiveness of some of his lines and everything, there are just a lot of songs that just sound weird to me. They just don't sound necessarily just right, in my opinion. And who am I to say, oh yeah, this isn't a right sounding Eminem song? Get out of here. So I'm not trying to do that. It's just, for me, it's just not, I'm not really clicking with it. I'm not really vibing with this. I feel very, very disjointed listening to this album. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of where I'm at right now. I feel like also a lot of people are also sharing my same testament. And I think I mentioned that too in part 1, where, a lot of people were kind of down on this album and weren't really feeling it, really at all. I've heard a lot of criticism about this album. And, I would like to converse with more people about it and see what kind of everyone's feeling about the overall album. And I feel like it might just end up being the same thing. But, yeah, that was part 2. I'm a little bit more towards the, negative side about this album. But, for, again, its topics, for what its lyrics have, it's absolutely great. I love a lot of the things he's bringing up here in this album. I feel like it's stuff that somewhat needs to be said, even when we're talking about the political spectrum. Of course, not going to get into that whole mess, but there's just some very interesting and really thoughtful things. It's not just it's not just trash on this album when it comes to term of just topic. It's not just garbage topics, whatever. They're topics that mean something. They're topics that are important. They're topics that hold merit and everything. And that's just how it goes. So I will catch you all in my part 3 later on in the week. What is going on, everybody? This is part 3 of the Revival review from Eminem, and you guys have all seen my part 1 to part 2. You guys understand kind of where I'm coming from with this part 3 and how, you know, some things will probably be said again. You know what I'm saying? I will probably have the same stances, but there are some new things I want to bring up in this part 3 that I did not discuss in parts 1 and 2. And one of them is track 10, Bad Husbands. Now, Ex-Ambassadors, I didn't know who they were before this album. I had no idea who they are, but the feature that they do on this and the chorus they do on this song is great. I think it's awesome. I think that they sound really great in this whole song. And I think overall, the song is a great song. It's a great premise also. It's kind of like Eminem writing, you know, just his mistakes that he's made in the past and everything. And like, he's having this dichotomy of like, man, like, how can you be, you know, so good at a lot of things, but so bad at some things at the same time? You know, like he even says that in the song. It's a great premise. I just wanted to highlight that because I think that song definitely is worthy of the highlight. And then there are also songs here towards the end half of the album, like Heat and Framed, that, you know, are very, very just fun, kind of, you know, old school, witty, Eminem-esque songs, where it's not really, you know, honing in on his like aggressiveness. It's more honing in on just a comedic, you know, topic. Whether it be Framed, you know, is where he, you know, is literally set up and like, you know, he is framed for a crime he didn't commit and stuff like that. And then with He, it's about him like observing like one of his fans that has like a very, very, you know, fine looking body, very, very attractive fan at that. And you know, he, you know, would not straight up follows her to her car, but kind of falls into her car low-key, just, you know, just like still observing this woman, and she starts bumping his songs in her car as she leaves the place that they're at. So you know, it's that whole thing of like, man, like, you know, she's such a big fan of me, but I'm a big fan of her and stuff like that. It's very, very, very cool, fun stuff. And I will give it, you know, I will give Eminem that credit here on this album, that, you know, like, there is a lot of fun wittiness to this album. Even Tragic Endings with Skylar Grey is a great sounding song and everything, but, you know, just this whole entire second half of the album really does kind of lose its momentum, at least for me personally, and I, you know, wasn't the biggest fan of the second half of this album. But, you know, just for like perspective, right, like, you know, this album starts off with, you know, an amazing Beyonce track, Walk on Water, right? You know, so we have incredible songs in the first half, like Untouchable, and yes, there are good songs, like I just said, you know, towards the middle and half of the album, but, you know, it just still just doesn't really do it for me personally. I don't know, maybe that's a bias, maybe I'm just not the biggest fan of Eminem's style, maybe I'm not the biggest fan of this album, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think I kind of end up on here, where this album just didn't grab me any sense. There is good stuff to enjoy in this album, but definitely it is nothing, you know, to write home about. So, you know, that's just what it is. I feel like if you're a big Eminem fan, I think you will definitely enjoy this album. Obviously, if you're a huge Eminem fan, but I think for the casual listener of Eminem, somebody that, you know, like, yeah, knows his old stuff, but you know, just is kind of just tuning into this one and, you know, just not really feeling it, I definitely see where you're coming from, because that's definitely where kind of I'm coming from as well with this whole album. And ladies and gentlemen, that's been my time here on this review. If you all enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share down below. I appreciate the video. Give me thanks for watching, and as always, I got you.